You know, there was a time when you bought a television and it just worked for years, sometimes decades. My parents had the same set in the living room from the late 1970s all the way into the early 90s. It never burned out, never faded. It just sat there in the corner and did exactly what it was supposed to do. But today, buying a TV feels like a completely different experience. There are so many panels, so many technologies, so many specs being thrown at you. It's honestly hard to know what you're even looking at anymore. And if you've already bought an OLED television in the past couple of years, or you're thinking about getting one, there's something really important I want to talk to you about today. Because there is one mistake, one surprisingly common mistake, that thousands of OLED owners are making right now in 2026. And it's slowly damaging their screens. Not because the TV is bad, not because they were tricked, but simply because nobody told them this. So today, we're going to talk about what that mistake is, why it happens, what it does to your screen over time, and exactly how to fix it. We'll keep it simple, we'll keep it practical, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do. Before we get into it, if this is the kind of content you find useful, please hit subscribe and give this video a like. It genuinely helps. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What TV or appliance are you using right now, and what problems are you facing with it? You can also find some helpful links in the description below, including panel comparison guides, warranty resources, and brightness setting references. Worth bookmarking if you're in the middle of buying or troubleshooting. Description links: Arting's Burn-In Tracker, Artings.com LG warranty info, LG.com/US/support Consumer Reports TV reliability, consumerreports.org AV forums OLED discussion, evforums.com. The core mistake, what's actually happening. All right, so let's get into it. The number one mistake OLED owners are making in 2026 is running their televisions at maximum brightness and then leaving static content on the screen for hours at a time. That's it. That's the mistake. And I know that sounds almost too simple. But stick with me, because the damage this causes is real. Here's the thing about OLED screens. They're genuinely beautiful. The contrast, the blacks, the color accuracy, there's nothing quite like it. But the way they work is different from a traditional LED panel. Each pixel in an OLED screen generates its own light. That's what makes it so vivid. But those organic pixels, they wear down over time. And the faster you push them, the faster they wear. Think of it like a fluorescent light bulb running at full power 24 hours a day compared to one running on a dimmer. Both bulbs work, but one will burn out a lot faster. OLED pixels work the same way. Crank the brightness to 100%, leave the news channel on for 4 to 6 hours a day, and you're pushing those pixels hard every single day. Now, this is where it gets important. When static content sits on your screen, a news ticker at the bottom, a channel logo in the corner, a stock price display that barely moves, those specific pixels are working constantly, while the rest of the screen is doing mixed things. Over time, those static pixels wear down faster than the others. And that's what creates what's called burn-in, or ghosting. You've probably seen it on screens at airports or on old retail display TVs. That faded image baked into the screen that never quite goes away. That is burn-in. And yes, it can happen to your home television, especially if you're making this brightness mistake. Who this is really affecting? Real owner stories. Now, before anyone feels accused of something, I want to be clear. This is not about being careless or uninformed. The people most affected by this are actually some of the most experienced TV buyers out there. Gen X buyers, baby boomers, people who've owned televisions for 40 or 50 years and have perfectly reasonable habits built up over decades. If you watch the news every morning and you leave it running while you have breakfast and get ready, that's a completely normal thing to do. People have done it for years. The problem is that with OLED, that habit comes with a cost that older LCD and plasma TVs didn't charge you for in quite the same way. On Reddit and on AV forums, which is a large European TV enthusiast community, there are hundreds of reports from real owners. People who bought LG C3 and G3 models back in 2023 and 2024 and started noticing faded CNN tickers ghosted into their screens around the 18 to 24-month mark. Some Samsung S95 QD OLED owners running high brightness saw issues even sooner, around 12 to 18 months. And here's the frustrating part. When they went back to the manufacturer after 2 years, many found their warranties had expired, or that the damage was classified as misuse. So not only was the screen damaged, the financial protection was gone too. That's not a conspiracy. That's not a scam. It's the result of real-world viewing habits colliding with a technology that has genuine physical limits. Limits that the marketing doesn't always make crystal clear. The brightness wars. Why 2026 makes this worse? There's something happening in 2026 that's making all of this worse. Manufacturers are pushing brightness harder than ever. There's a kind of competition going on right now. You could almost call it the brightness wars, where brands are racing to outshine each other. Peak brightness numbers are getting bigger every year, and when consumers see those numbers in the store, naturally, they want to use them. But here's what those peak brightness figures don't tell you. They're measured in very specific, very short bursts of highlight content. They are not meant to represent how bright the screen should run during normal everyday viewing. Running your OLED at full brightness in your living room, which probably has some ambient light but isn't a stadium, is like flooring a car engine through the city just because the speedometer goes up to 180. YouTube reviewers and forum users have been documenting early ghosting on some 2026 high-end models after just 6 months of aggressive use. 6 months. That's before most people have even finished setting up all their streaming services. And budget OLED models. Brands like Hisense and Vizio in their entry-level lines are showing even faster degradation. The cooling systems in those panels aren't as robust. The pixel protection software isn't as refined. So if you went with a more affordable OLED to save money, the brightness mistake hits you even harder. What the data actually shows. Real testing. Real numbers. Now, I want to be fair here, because the picture, no pun intended, isn't all doom and gloom. Artings, which is one of the most respected independent TV testing organizations out there, ran an accelerated test in 2026. They put over 100 televisions through more than 10,000 hours of stress testing under extreme static conditions. And yes, all the OLEDs showed some burn-in under those conditions. But here's what matters. That's extreme, accelerated testing. It's designed to simulate years of abuse in a fraction of the time. For normal mixed viewing at moderate brightness, the risk is significantly lower. Consumer Reports rated LG OLED TVs as highly reliable, with only around a 4% failure rate within 5 years. That's actually better than some LED competitors. So the technology isn't broken. The technology is genuinely excellent. It's the usage patterns that create the problem. And that's actually good news, because usage patterns are something you can change. Think of it like a washing machine. A quality front loader can last 15 years easily, but if you overload it every single time and never clean the drum, you'll kill it in 5. The machine isn't defective. The habits around it are what matter. How to protect your screen. practical settings that actually work. All right, this is the part that matters most. Because I don't want you to walk away from this video anxious about your television. I want you to walk away knowing exactly what to do. The first thing to do is drop your brightness. You don't need 100%. In a normally lit room, a brightness setting of 40 to 60% is more than enough for comfortable viewing. Aim for around 150 nits in a dimly lit room. Your eyes will actually thank you for it, and your pixels will last years longer. Second, go into your picture settings and turn on pixel shift and logo dimming. On most LG and Samsung sets, you'll find these under Settings, then Picture, then Screen Adjustment, or something similar. Pixel shift subtly and imperceptibly moves the image every few minutes, so no single pixel is stuck doing the same job forever. Logo dimming detects static elements and automatically reduces their brightness. These features are there for a reason. Use them. Third, enable your screensaver or set a screen timeout. If you pause something and walk away, your screen shouldn't be sitting there showing a frozen frame for 30 minutes. Set it to go dark after 5 to 10 minutes of inactivity. It sounds like a small thing. It isn't. Fourth, if your TV has a panel refresh or pixel refresh feature, run it regularly. LG and Samsung both have this built in, and it's usually automated. But check that it's enabled. It runs through a cycle that helps even out pixel wear. Think of it like a reset for your screen's health. And fifth, vary your content. If you watch the news every morning, that's fine, but balance it with other viewing. Movies, streaming shows, sports, content that moves around the screen and doesn't lock static elements in place. The more varied the content, the more evenly the pixels wear. If you do these 5 things consistently, Arting's data suggests you can cut your burn-in risk by up to 80%. That's not a small margin. That's the difference between a TV that lasts 3 years and one that lasts 10. Understanding warranties, what to ask before you buy. Let's talk about something a lot of people overlook until it's too late. Warranties. If you're buying an OLED TV, or if you already own one, read the warranty documentation carefully. LG in the United States offers a 5-year residential warranty on certain models, and burn-in is covered if it happens within that window under normal use conditions. Sony has a strong coverage record as well. But Samsung's warranty terms on their QD OLED range are narrower crew, and reports suggest warranty claims are denied more frequently, particularly after the first year. In the European Union, consumer protection law gives you additional rights beyond the manufacturer warranty. U buyers have a minimum 2-year legal guarantee under U law, and some member states extend that further. If you're in the UK or Europe, check AV forums for country-specific guidance. Before you buy any TV, ask these questions. What does the burn-in warranty actually cover, and for how long? Is the coverage the same for residential and commercial use? What counts as misuse under the warranty terms? And does the retailer offer any extended coverage worth considering? Getting clear answers to those questions before you hand over your money could save you a lot of frustration 2 years down the line. Choosing the right model. Not the most expensive, the right one. Now, if you're in the market and trying to decide which OLED to buy, here's how I'd think about it. If you're a heavy news viewer, or you tend to leave the TV on in the background for hours, LG's OLED panels have historically shown better long-term durability than QD OLED in sustained static conditions. Models like the LG C-Series and the Sony A95K have strong owner satisfaction records and better warranty support. If you're mostly doing mixed viewing, movies, sports, streaming, QD OLED from Samsung gives you incredible brightness and color. Just manage that brightness setting from day one. Don't let it run hot just because it can. And if budget is the priority, be realistic about what you're getting. A budget OLED at a great price is still a beautiful screen. But don't expect the same longevity or the same protection features as a flagship. Factor that into your decision. A mid-range LG at a reasonable price, used sensibly, will almost certainly outlast a budget brand pushed hard at full brightness. Here's a rough way to think about 3-year survival odds for a 65-inch 2026 model used 3 to 5 hours a day. Fewer than 10 hours of static content per week at 40 to 60% brightness on an LG or Sony OLED. Your odds are over 90%. Push that to 20 to 30 hours of static weekly at 70 to 90% brightness on a QD OLED. And you're looking at 60 to 70%. Run a budget model at full brightness with heavy static for more than 40 hours a week, and you're below 50%. Those aren't scary numbers if you're sensible. They're just numbers. And knowing them means you can make smart choices. The right TV settings for you. So let's bring this back to where we started. You didn't do anything wrong if your screen is showing wear. Nobody hands you a manual that says, by the way, that news ticker you've been watching every morning is quietly aging your pixels. You bought a beautiful television, you used it the way you always have, and the technology didn't warn you. That's not your fault. But now you know. And knowing is everything. Lower the brightness. Enable the pixel protection features. Set a screen timeout. Run the panel refresh. Vary what you watch. Those 5 things, done consistently, will change the lifespan of your screen dramatically. And if you're still shopping, don't chase the biggest brightness number or the most impressive spec sheet. Buy the television that fits your real living room, your real viewing habits, and your real budget. The best TV isn't the most expensive one. It's the one that's still working beautifully in 8 years, showing you the things you actually want to watch. That's always been the standard. Whether it's a refrigerator that's still running after 20 years, or a washing machine your kids will eventually inherit, or a television that sits in your living room and just works. That's what good value looks like. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, leave a like and share it with someone who just bought an OLED. And drop a comment letting me know. What TV are you running right now, and what's your biggest concern with it? I read every single one.